June 3, 1942, the Central Pacific Ocean, approximately 1,300 miles northwest of Honolulu. The sea is calm in the early hours, a deep blue broken only by long, slow swells. There is no land in sight. Somewhere beyond the horizon, 4 Japanese aircraft carriers are moving east at flank speed, their decks crowded with aircraft, fuel lines, and men who believe they are about to deliver a decisive blow that will end American resistance in the Pacific. The target is a tiny coral atoll known as Midway. For 6 months after Pearl Harbor, the Imperial Japanese Navy has known nothing but success. Hong Kong, Singapore, the Philippines, the Dutch East Indies, each has fallen in rapid sequence. The United States Pacific Fleet has been driven back, its battleships sunk or damaged, its air power scattered. Yet one fact remains unchanged: the American aircraft carriers survived Pearl Harbor. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto understands what this means. He knows American industrial strength. He knows that time favors the United States. If Japan is to win the war, the U.S. carrier force must be destroyed in a single, decisive engagement. Midway is the bait. Midway Atoll itself is small, just over 2 square miles of sand and coral, with a shallow lagoon at its center. Before the war, it was little more than a refueling stop for seaplanes. By 1942, it has been hastily transformed into a forward air base. Its defenses are improvised but determined. The garrison consists of roughly 3,000 men, U.S. Marines, Navy personnel, and civilian contractors. The air group includes outdated Brewster F-2A Buffalo fighters, newer Grumman F-4 Wildcats, Army Air Forces B-17 Flying Fortresses, Navy PBY Catalina patrol planes, and a handful of torpedo bombers. The runways are vulnerable. The island has no natural cover. Yet Midway is not alone. In Washington and Pearl Harbor, American cryptanalysts have been reading Japanese codes. By late May, they are confident that AF, a coded objective mentioned repeatedly in intercepted messages, refers to Midway. A ruse confirms it. Midway sends an unencrypted report about a water shortage. Shortly afterward, Japanese messages report that AF is short of water. Admiral Chester W. Nimitz now knows where and when the Japanese will strike. He decides to do something unprecedented. Instead of reacting defensively, he will ambush the Japanese fleet. On June 2, 3 American carriers, Enterprise, Hornet, and Yorktown, take position northeast of Midway. They are commanded by Rear Admirals Raymond Spruance and Frank Jack Fletcher. Together, they can field just over 230 aircraft. They are badly outnumbered. The Japanese striking force, under Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo, consists of 4 fleet carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, supported by battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. Their air group totals more than 240 aircraft, many flown by combat veterans of Pearl Harbor and the Indian Ocean raids. Yamamoto himself remains hundreds of miles to the west with the main battle fleet, confident that the American carriers will be drawn out and destroyed. What he does not know is that the Americans are already waiting. June 4, 1942, 04:30 hours. Japanese aircraft launch from Nagumo's carriers in the pre-dawn darkness. Their mission is to neutralize Midway's defenses. At the same time, Japanese reconnaissance planes fan out, searching for the American fleet. One scout plane is launched late. Another fails to search its assigned sector thoroughly. These small delays will have enormous consequences. At 0620, Japanese bombers strike Midway. Hangars are damaged, fuel tanks burn, aircraft are destroyed on the ground, but the runways remain usable. Anti-aircraft fire is heavy. Several Japanese planes fail to return. Nagumo receives the initial damage report. Midway is not neutralized. A second strike will be necessary. At the same moment, a scout plane finally reports what should have been discovered an hour earlier. American warships are present to the northeast. The message is vague. Carrier presence is not immediately confirmed.
Nagumo now faces a dilemma. His reserve aircraft are armed with torpedoes intended for ship attack. To strike Midway again, they must be rearmed with bombs. He orders the change. As the process begins, a second message arrives. An American carrier has been sighted. Nagumo reverses the order. On the hangar decks of the Japanese carriers, bombs and torpedoes are moved back and forth. Fuel lines remain connected. Aircraft are crowded wingtip to wingtip. The decks are full. The carriers are at their most vulnerable. Meanwhile, American aircraft are already in the air. They arrive piecemeal and uncoordinated. Torpedo squadrons from Hornet, Enterprise, and Yorktown attack at low altitude, flying straight into Japanese fighter defenses. Their planes are slow. Their torpedoes are unreliable. They are cut down almost to the last man. Torpedo Squadron 8 loses 15 of its 16 aircraft. Torpedo Squadron 6 is nearly annihilated. Torpedo Squadron 3 fares little better. The attacks achieve no hits, but they accomplish something else. They draw Japanese fighters down to sea level. They keep the carriers turning. They consume precious minutes. High above, American dive bombers are still searching for the enemy. At approximately 10:20, Lieutenant Commander Wade McCluskey of Enterprise makes a decision that will define the battle. Low on fuel and uncertain of the enemy's location, he follows a lone Japanese destroyer speeding north. He reasons that it must be returning to its carrier. He is right. Moments later, the Japanese carriers appear beneath his aircraft, 3 of them, steaming into the wind, decks crowded with fueled and armed planes. The dive bombers attack. Within 6 minutes, Akagi, Kaga, and Suryu are fatally hit. Bombs penetrate hangar decks. Fires spread uncontrollably. Explosions rip through fuel and ordnance. Crews fight the flames, but the damage is irreversible. Only Hiryu remains operational. At this point, the narrative reaches a natural break, with the battle's outcome still undecided and the final Japanese counterstroke yet to unfold. Type continue to resume exactly here, with a counterattack by Hiryu, the sinking of Yorktown, the final American strikes, and the full aftermath and legacy of the Battle of Midway.